Like I say, I think it should be close.
Yeah, it's not like we haven't seen Umu decide a race at all in the tournament once ever. And honestly, I would quite frankly expect that to possibly be the case. There's lots of different areas where some small slip ups on either side can give the other runner advantage. But probably the big two areas that we have seen trouble with are the Watcher Knights, Umu, and then on the way to Hera with tricks like QGA and so on and so forth. But the early game here, these runners both very well practiced at it, similar across a lot of categories. So I don't really expect too much in the way of early game shenanigans. Runners getting the countdown here, you should see them go up shortly. Reminder, this is based on loadless timers. So you will see some desync early on depending on the computing power, and we'll do our best to make sure that we sync the timers if the race gets close, but we'll see how it goes from there. You can see visuals with a extremely awkward computer at the moment, and also some desync issues just in general. And we're both off. fireb0rn will be ahead by about 12 seconds or so for the time being, and we'll look at getting an early sync here.
Yeah, and Fire does have a faster computer, so that gap at least will look like he's a lot further ahead and getting further ahead, but we will sync it up at big milestones, and the gap won't be as big as it seems. Like I say, just paying attention to the loadless timer when you go through transitions and stuff will give you a better idea.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do our best to make sure we mention various time benchmarks and do the math so you don't have to, all that good stuff. So 52 Kings Pass from fireb0rn, probably not something he'd be happy with in a personal best attempt kind of situation, but in a race environment, that's not too shabby at all. And he's going to be jumping around here in Dirtmouth, just because there's a bit of a slow zone here. Otherwise, that has absolutely no impact on the speed that the vessel runs just here in this town area. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pick up our fireball skill, which is going to be used as our main source of damage. 3 nail hits is going to acquire us enough soul to cast one spell, either a fireball or a heal. And Insomnia, talk a little bit maybe about the importance of the geo routing here in the early game and the soul management.
Yep, so the first big thing we're spending money on is the... Sorry, his fire's screen froze up for everyone. That's just a sync.
Yeah, that's the sync.
Yeah, so the first big thing is the Shaman Stone, which costs 220 geo, and we get that from Salubra. So we get, and we're also spending 50 on the Forgotten Crossroads Stag, but we also gain 50 from killing Gru's mother. But then we also get another 14 from killing the little gruzzers that spawn after. So what we want, basically what that boils down to, is we want 206 geo going into Gru's mother. The earlier you get that 206, basically, the faster it is. So ideally you would have it going into Hornet, but to have it by Claw is pretty good as well. And if you're a couple short after Claw, you can get that pretty quick.
It's a little bit awkward here for visuals down to 1 HP already. There's not really a whole lot that can kill him, so I don't anticipate him going for the heal here, but it is definitely a bit of a strange sighting to see him down on 1 HP this early while he's going to be heading off to grab the Vengeful Spirit. So he'll probably be fine, but I can tell you that he's not happy with it, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's sort of just one other thing to worry about that you probably don't want, especially this early in a race. Hopefully not a sign of things to come.
So here we come into False Knight. He throws a temper tantrum, and then developer intended skip to head out the left side gate early. No big deal. Slap a bunch of damage in. fireb0rn opting to heal back up to full health here, which is anticipated completely. Pretty much free to do so while you're waiting for the cycle here. Smash the face in, get a full recharge on your soul. You can see visuals is going to be healing up twice here as well, and traversing his way off to the left in short order. That deficit, though, from that early damage is kind of already showing its face here. He's behind by a fairly significant margin for the early game.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it can change a lot with the big RNG elements later on, but it definitely does all add up, and someone like Fire is going to be taking those 1 second, 0.1 second time saves wherever he can get them.
Yeah, about a 9-second difference here entering the door. As fireb0rn collects his Vengeful Spirit, gets teleported back out, and is going to be dealing with the first semi-significant portion of RNG in the run, with the Balder spitting out little baby Balders. And that is a 50-50 chance, whether you get a Fireball or a baby Balder. Potential equalizer here for visuals in the early game. He would definitely want fireb0rn against the bad luck at this point, knowing how his first few minutes have gone. Not dead, though, and not dying saves time.
Yeah, except for one spot. And our unofficial timekeeper says that it's at 9 seconds different.
Alright, and so here comes the Balder. A couple fireballs to the face, and that is 1. That is a 2. That is a 3. This is what visuals needs 4th spit for fireb0rn. Alright. See how the RNG levels out as visuals comes down. 2 fireballs to the face once again. 1 spit. And a 2 spit. And a 3 spit. And 4. Okay, so it's just nothing. They get the same RNG, which is kind of good for a race situation. You know, we get you get to put it in the hands of execution a little bit more than RNG, so you like to see that.
Yeah, definitely. And Viz getting hit there. Again, this split's pretty movement heavy. It shouldn't make too big a difference, but definitely not, like I say, something you want to see, especially this early on in the run.
Nope, a little bit of soul gathering there in that room for the first sequence break that we're going to be performing in the game with Fireball Skip. You can see there is fireb0rn went off screen too. Basically glitch kill that Balder. It gave him a little bit of knockback, and so he's going to use that right here. Single fireball, very nice, and abuse that in order to be able to gain some air sustain and traverse. That one's relatively easy. You'll see top runners do a single fireball there pretty frequently. The second one, probably the most difficult and arguably the most important as well. We'll see how he performs there as visuals coming up on his fireball skip in a moment.
Yeah, I mean, we'd sort of expect these guys to be 3 out of 3. I mean, we also wouldn't be expecting Viz to get hit there. But yeah, the second one, while being the most important, there is a mosquito backup, but that does lose a decent chunk of time. And Fire gets...
Pretty much no problem for fireb0rn. A little bit of farming there for visuals, who has had a tendency so far in this race to shove his face into enemies for unbeknownst reasons. I wonder if he's maybe having problems with input lag on his controller. Sometimes he likes whether or not it has an effect for him is unknown really. But you know, depending on your computer, you might be just needing a restart or something like that in order to get proper controls. But hopefully that's not the issue. Hopefully is, well, not hopefully I guess, but you know, maybe he's just kind of checked out here in the early game on autopilot, or maybe he's already thinking about 106 runs.
Yeah, I mean, he PB'd, what was it, yesterday? So maybe he's just still trying to ride that high.
It's always the issue, Kappa. That's right, Cat. That's absolutely right. So, Venge Fly King, pretty easy kill there. Going to be some Geo that we're collecting, somewhat of an ear route just to do that here instead of collecting some Geo Rocks. Saves a few seconds, if done optimally. fireb0rn, excellent job there, as he's going to be off to Hornet now to grab his Mothwing Cloak. Visuals in the meantime on the Veg Fly King. Also gets a pretty clean kill. Cleans up a couple mosquitoes, and looks like Visuals is checking back in. Down to 3 HP though, heading into Hornet. fireb0rn is going to be on 5. We'll see how he handles the fight here.
As I was saying about Geo earlier, both players are already fine for Geo. Actually, they've got quite a lot for this early. You sort of expect them to have a bit lower, so they've done pretty well with Geo management so far.
fireb0rn does take a hit off Hornet in the early going, but has her bullied into the corner, now jumping up to get that extra slash in midair. Another fireb0rn very clean kill overall for fireb0rn. Visuals in the meantime has her bullied on the left side, also gets that up slash double fireball hit by the looks there. on the knockback and should be almost done. Doesn't take a hit at all so far and cleans that up with a midair strike right to the feeties of Hornet. And probably might have caught up just a little bit of time there.
Yeah, I think so. They said it was 9 seconds, so Fire might have actually saved a second or two more on him, 2 seconds, but it was definitely a cleaner segment, and hopefully Viz is sort of warming up a bit.
Yeah, that was an 8:03 exit on the save and quit from fireb0rn. We'll see visuals here 8:15, so about a 12-second difference in that moment. fireb0rn garnering just a little bit more time overall, but visuals keeping it nice and competitive here in the early going. Whiskey in chat mentioning that Viz has been having an issue with his jump button sticking on his controller, so that could be indeed what is occurring.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't play too big a part. Especially that could be an issue with Watcher Knights, where close movement around them is really important. Otherwise, you're going to be taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. See if he ends up having to double back to try and reset any potential jumps. But hopefully, if there is an issue with it, it cleans itself up in short order. Heading off to grab the claw now, which is going to allow us to jump off of walls. It's down in the Mantis area. And the Mantis Pogo, after the explosion Pogo. Potential area for a little bit of catch-up for visuals as well. fireb0rn takes the hit, but gets the Pogo off cleanly. And continues onward. Visuals will be coming up on it in a moment, on the right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, Fire with the very big swag strap there. You don't have to do like 90% of what he just did to get the Pogo, but it looks cool.
Ooh, this is a lot of opportunity here for visuals to catch up. fireb0rn whiffing on the Mantis Pogo a couple times, even with some backup strats. Couldn't quite get it. He's going to have to go the long way around. If visuals can get this fairly quickly, and fireb0rn takes a death. Ooh, that is a time loss for fireb0rn visuals, suddenly with a significant advantage.
Yeah, I don't know if Visuals is watching the stream, but if he is, he's probably feeling pretty good about it right now. Sort of if he can keep it all together, that's a really big deficit to try and make.
Yeah, one of the issues we were talking about the soul management earlier. One of the issues that fireb0rn was having there is he actually went for a mid-air fireball, which I think he was trying to get like an extra knockback in order to be able to sort of do a reverse pogo, if you will, off of one of the mantises, and it whiffed. And so he was down to less than a third soul. He had no opportunity to heal, and his aggressiveness catches him in an area that you normally don't take a death in, particularly when you're going for that back-around loop. You might expect to take a death to the pogo itself, but not looping back around. So unfortunate for Fire, good for visuals, and fireb0rn's going to have an absolutely just monster race now, or some significant mistakes from visuals.
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, this is a huge deficit. The only thing that's really going to make it up is visuals taking a death or having like a 4-cycle Umu plus a bunch of other things.
Yeah, like a bad beast standing on top of that. Maybe he takes a death to Umu, but benches in the archives. We'll have to see how it shakes out. So 10:42 entrance into the Grud's fight for visuals. Keep an eye on when fireb0rn gets there to get a better idea of the separation for you. Pretty clean first phase for the Grud's Mother, looking for the cleanup. Will we be calling janitorial services, or will visuals bring his own mop? Soon to find out. Waiting for the babies to spawn. And 2 fireballs plus he gets a high pattern off of that last baby Gruz. A little bit unfortunate, but otherwise he's doing okay. Looking pretty decent on Geo. fireb0rn having more issues here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if something's going on.
He's given us a in Discord. I'm not too sure why he did the save and quit there. I was paying attention to the Gruz Mother fight from visuals. This is going to be an intentional death for him, by the way. He's going to use the shade to pogo into the blue lake area. Getting word that it's about 90 seconds from our official unofficial timer, Rix_X. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe he's having some controller issues or just feeling a bit tilted after that death.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, but I mean, now Visuals is in a pretty comfortable spot. Like you said, if he is watching the restream, which I'm not sure whether or not he does, he's pretty much laughing at this point. Not at fireb0rn, but metaphorically laughing. Pretty comfortable with his position, which in a way kind of has to be a bit of a relief given the early game start.
Yeah, and apparently Visuals is watching the restream, Fire isn't, so he probably does have an idea of his lead, so he's probably going to take, you know, some of the later, more difficult sections. He probably won't hesitate as much to stop and heal, so it's probably, you know, he's probably feeling a bit more comfortable and is okay to take those couple of safety nets because they're not going to cost him 90 seconds.
Yeah, we're almost at around 2 minutes at the moment. Separation between the runners. Visuals does not have music, so if you guys are fine with just game sounds, then we're fine with that as well. All right, that's a 13-minute flat entrance into the Dream Nail sequence. For Visuals, pretty decent pace overall. All things considered, fireb0rn meanwhile setting up his Shade Skip.
Hardest enemy in the game.
The platforms?
No, that one husk.
Yeah. A pretty clean Shade Skip here from fireb0rn. Leaving that area into the blue lake at 13:32. Meanwhile, we're going to see Visuals head into arguably one of the toughest parts of the run for sure, with the Watcher Knights after this. Going to be doing a bunch of farming en route, collecting a whole bunch of geo, collecting some relics that we'll sell to Lem for some geo in order to be able to buy a bunch of stuff, most notably the Lumifly Lantern for 1800, which is a requirement in order to access Crystal Peaks with the route that we take in this category. Swag Explosion Pogo, that's correct, Tombo. He did get it both times. So, I mean, clearly, that catches him up by about a minute.
Yeah, exactly. That, I mean, arguably it's what got him killed the first time, but that's just the price you pay for looking cool.
Interestingly enough, Visuals were marking in chat in the midst of all of this that he actually hasn't had an opponent yet where they haven't made a 1 minute plus mistake. 14:32 entrance. Yeah, so about a 90-second separation, 92-second separation between the runners as of entering the Dream Nail sequence here. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's Visuals' beard just intimidating the crap out of fireb0rn. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, whatever he's doing, it's working.
It is a pretty sexy beard, I will admit. I have to say, though, after the Mantis shenanigans from fireb0rn, he's got his head back in the game. Has been performing very well. Pretty clean movement overall.
Yeah, it's really a rough situation. Maybe that death has taken some pressure off of him, and now he's just focusing on, you know, powering through the rest of the game and just praying that Viz either makes a pretty big slip up or dies or something like that, and he can just play solid enough to make up some of the difference.
Yeah, one of the interesting one of the things I'm interested to know is that fireb0rn was doing a bunch of no resets for a couple hours before the race, and I wonder if maybe that's kind of had any impact on his mentality, whether or not he's gotten just maybe a little bit fatigued, or if it was just, you know, he checked out for a little bit there. So Visuals with a comfortable 90-ish second lead right now. Almost done with the significant portions of his relic cleanup here. in City of Tears, and then he's going to be heading on to face the Watcher Knights. And fireb0rn definitely going to be hoping for a death from Visuals. We'll see whether or not Visuals takes a safety bench here, knowing his lead. Might not necessarily be a bad idea, but also Visuals, fairly confident runner. I wouldn't be surprised to see him skip it and then just move on to the next segment.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I imagine he might heal once during the Watch Knight fight. Just that's probably more of a middle ground between benching and, just playing like normal.
One last elevator trip. And one more elevator skip. And I'll take out the chandelier, remove one of the Watcher Knights from the fight preemptively. And then he'll get into it. So in the meantime, while fireb0rn goes and cleans up the gorgeous husk for some Geo, I'll pay attention to Visuals on the right-hand side of your screen, getting a Dream Nail in early on to gather up some of that soul extra. Fireball, while the Watcher Knight is moving away to try and get a double hit. Successful there, got him bullied into the corner. This part's fairly easy, another double hit right there, and Watcher Knight gives him a bit of a jump. This is just a hairball of time there, and now we get into the real deal of the Watcher Knights fight, 2 at a time. Coming in, and he's got them both here on the right so far. Nope, gets a jump on one of them. Fireball in, connects with both, farming up a little bit more soul. That one whiffs on one of them. May have connected with the second one off screen. Takes his first hit, not too bad. Only 1 HP down to 5 total. And cleans up 2 at a time.
And fireb0rn not benching at King Station, so he's, really trying to just try and catch up, really. Just playing it risky because he probably knows that any mistake now, it probably won't make as much of a difference. If you're playing carefully, you're not going to make up enough time to even make it close again.
Nice awareness for the HP count from Visuals as he hit a fireball into the one with more HP and then just swung back to the right. Got his last nail hit of damage in on the second last Watcher Knight there to finish him off. Pretty impressive mid-fight awareness from Visuals there.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good fight, so that's sort of one of the big roadblocks where there was probably an opportunity for Fire to gain some time back that he's cleared now. So he's probably feeling really good about it right now.
Visuals confirmed to have bribed everybody to advance to the finals. SMH, my H. fireb0rn's Watcher Knight fight on the left-hand side of the screen. He has taken 1 HP worth of damage, 2 now. Gathering up a little bit more soul. Fireball kind of in the mid-air segment there to try and get the double hit. And it seems like he was successful. Sets up for the Dream Nail. Will not go for a second one. Heads over to the left-hand side in order to get fireballs in on both of the remaining Watcher Knights here. Jumping around into a favorable position, but he loops around to the opposite side. Very nicely done as he gets to the pattern he's looking for. As the Watcher Knights collect themselves all in one space, nice and evenly for him, and he finishes fight at around 1910.
Yeah, that was a really clean fight overall. Probably not the best pattern, but he certainly made the most of it.
We'll get the health refill, of course, as he enters the dream sequence. Visuals now is going to be making his way over to Crystal Peaks to collect the Crystal Heart in order to perform a couple skips so we can get to Umu, and also it is a fast skill. Still hovering around the low to mid 90-second differential between the runners. Probably on the basis, mostly I would expect, out of a slightly more favorable pattern out of the Watcher Knights for Visuals, as fireb0rn did control his fight very well.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying, it's really hard when you're this far behind because even extremely good execution struggles to make up 90 seconds sort of thing.
However, Umu has been known to be the great equalizer. And that'll be coming up after we collect Crystal Heart. Visuals talks to Lem, so he goes back to his shop like a responsible merchant and sells him a bunch of relics.
Yeah, so what's your theory on that? Is it that he has Dreamgate, or does he just Spider-Man up the wall and into the window?
It's probably a June date, I would expect. He's been holding out on us.
Yeah, I
mean,
definitely subscribe to that theory. Viz is a Spider-Man fan, so that's his theory.
well, that's how visuals got up there so quickly. He's actually Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's working, so maybe I needed to convert to Spider-Man. And to be honest, this race is probably as much in Visual's hands as it is in Fire's, because it's kind of the burden's on him to not make a mistake as much as it is on Fire to play well and catch up.
Yeah, definitely at this juncture in the race. So around a 2046 stag station activation for visuals. Get a more accurate picture of the time once fireb0rn gets there. Visuals just growling in chat.
Oh, and Visuals is a bench before person, which is subjectively the wrong choice.
Alright, so now we're heading off to Crystal Peak, as mentioned, to grab Crystal Heart. Probably one of the more enjoyable sections, I would think, for most runners of this category. Just because it is pure movement, and there's not really a whole lot in the way of combat, and a lot of it's fairly precise. Jumping around some pretty sharp corners, trying to keep your racing lines accurate.
Yeah, and not in a lot of RNG as well. It's a lot more set cycles, so you're not trying to react to an enemy screwing you over or anything like that.
2209 total activation for fireb0rn. So minute 14 plus 9, minute 23 separation between the runners at the moment. So fireb0rn catching up a little bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely... Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, it's definitely a decent time save, sort of that, just about 10 seconds. But, like I say, it's still going to be really hard.
Visuals, after a little bit of trouble in the early game, has definitely cleaned up his movement. Does not get the God Pixel, that's fine, pretty much free to go for, but does flub a little bit on the wall, not a big deal. Recovers fairly well, still has 3 HP left for the intended damage boosts that he's going to be performing shortly in order to advance through some cycles a little bit faster.
And fireb0rn still having really clean movement. Like I say, it's just that one mistake that's cost him so much. The rest's been really clean.
Interesting portion now beginning of, as if Crystal Peaks wasn't interesting. We'll see if Visuals goes for Mothity Fireball. He does not. Intended damage there off of that laser. Gonna do an air stall here momentarily after those sets of lasers right there. Boom, under the platform. Good man. And he'll be off to collect his Crystal Heart. fireb0rn catching up a little bit more time by the looks. 2312 activation for Crystal Heart. For Visuals.
And getting God Pixel.
Nice.
And right side. Yeah, he's, like I say, really playing well. It's just that one big mistake.
fireb0rn's definitely capable of bringing this race back, that's for sure. If Visuals makes a mistake. But it will require at least an extra cycle on Visuals side, plus the difference in execution. fireb0rn playing a lot cleaner, and that is at the bare minimum.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. Lots of dangerous areas, like you pointed out. Aside from what are the things that you're looking for opportunities here for fireb0rn?
Probably QGA, Mantis Arena, and Beast Den are the big ones. and then if there's, you know, maybe 5 seconds or something difference going into Hollow Knight, that can definitely make sort of that big a difference. But a Beast End death definitely wouldn't be first time we've seen it this tournament.
Incredibly impressive Crystal Piece segment, by the way, from fireb0rn, catching up 5 seconds on visuals. Now the separation at 1:18, as visuals is heading towards his Umu fight. Does not take the bench. Not surprised in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Fire's just really, you know, probably has a pretty good idea that he's significantly behind, so he's just playing to win sort of thing, you know, just going for absolutely everything. There's not really the pressure of, oh, if I screw up, I've thrown the race, because if you don't go for it and don't get it, sort of you've lost anyway.
And of course, even if Fire doesn't manage to come back in this race, he will have another chance down in the losers bracket finals, facing the winner of either Hamathity or Pestilent Box. So, visuals in his Umu fight here. That's the dream now. Fireball sequence looks pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, he can definitely still 2-cycle, which it, oh, misses the dream now. But gets that third one. Ooh, too high. Yeah, so that's going to be a 3-cycle from Viz.
Worth noting, if you're just joining us, this is a little bit more distant than it appears. You can see the timers on screen. fireb0rn 26 minutes, and visuals at the 25:42 mark. This is a loadless based race, not RTA, because computing power difference will result in the timer separation visuals on a slightly slower computer than fireb0rn. Cleans up the Umu fight, however. fireb0rn in, I believe, the second phase here. Got a pretty decent stall there. Nope, not quite.
Umu being a real pain for Fire.
I don't know what HP as well. It does wrap it up. And I'll be heading off to our last Dreamer, Hera, en route through Beast Den. Not gated by a boss like the first two Dreamers were, instead by the maze. Lots of tight corridors and spooky spiders and spikes in general. 26:41 cutscene for visuals. Finished with that now, and on his way out from the archives, we'll have an acid skip to perform as well before QGA, which is notably harder.
Yeah, definitely. QGA is probably the hardest sort of individual trick in the game, so it wouldn't be surprising to see one or both players mess it up once or twice.
About 1:04 separation now. As fireb0rn continues to claw back significant chunks of time here in the past couple of splits.
Yeah, I mean, if it weren't for that early death, you would, you know, it would be a really good time.
Alright, this is what fireb0rn needs. Taking a look at visual side right now. Fails the first attempt at QGA, does get it the second time, so fireb0rn will be able to eke out a little bit of that remaining distance. If he can get first try QGA, keep an eye when he gets there.
Yeah, so it's down to 56 seconds, and it was 78 before Umu, so that's a 22-second catch-up, which is definitely something he needs.
What is that emote, Logan? Not like peas. I didn't even know SpeedGaming had that. That's amazing.
And coming up to the man's arena now for fire. And getting it pretty nicely, so that's good to see.
Intentional damage tank there to warp to the lever. Don't worry about it.
Which is now 0.25 seconds slower than it used to be. Thanks, Axe.
Alright, visuals now dropping down, heading towards the village and Beast's Den. Because the cart across. Get a look at the timer. We'll figure out a good segment to place it in right now. Again, looks closer than it is, but fireb0rn is catching up fairly significant amounts of time.
Yeah, I mean, the movement through there was really nice from Fire. I'm sure official, unofficial timekeeper will have a number for us pretty soon.
Alright, 29-21 entrance visuals.
He thinks about 49 seconds, so again, he's caught up more time. A slip up in Beast Den could definitely change a lead.
30:04. Yeah, so about 43 second separation. This went from a minute and a half difference to 3/4 of a minute. fireb0rn has cut that time in half through just sheer execution after a fairly significant mistake in the early game at Madness Claw. To pull that back against a runner of Visuals caliber, I mean, in a way you expect it from fireb0rn, but you also know how good Visuals is, and it's still impressive. In fact, it probably makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, I mean, sort of, when you cop that death to Mantis Claw, you sort of, for anyone else should sort of think, alright, run's over, but Fire's just so good, and has managed to really claw it back.
Ooh, Visuals dropping down into the spikes there. He's down to 1 HP, does have full soul. Will be able to heal at his discretion and opts to do so. Would take a death off of the Devouts here if he got slapped in the face. Still well. 3 fireballs in, gets in nice and tight. Does the damage tank strat. Very spooky, very well done from Visuals. fireb0rn in the meantime, left side of your screen, also down to 2 HP. 3 fireballs in, gets in. Oh, super aggressive from fireb0rn. Just walks straight into the Devout. Gets the nail hits in and smashes the last few fireballs in.
Yeah, I mean, Viz definitely knowing his lead when he stopped to heal there.
Even letting us know in chat, he's playing as safe as it gets. And quote from him, making mistakes all over the place. Maybe if you weren't in chat visuals.
Yeah, that's definitely it. Down to 34 seconds now, so when you consider that he was about 94 seconds behind earlier, Fire's played a really good race.
Yeah, with the difference in computing power, you'll see them within, like, might even be entering Hollow Knight, like, roughly around the same time.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them killing them same time on screen.
Right,
maybe we'll get 90 parries from the Hollow Knight.
90 parries. Both at the Stag Station. We'll keep it desynced just for the entertainment value, having them both in the fight around the same time.
Yeah, I mean, with this difference, it's probably a lot better watching just to see them wrapping up at the same time.
Just wanted to make it close. Sure, visuals. All right, Black Egg Temple, both runners. It is... I didn't quite catch the exact activation time. I think it was a 32:18 for visuals. 3250, so about 20. Around the 30-second difference there.
Viz was saying earlier today that he's never seen the Invisible Hollow Knight, so hopefully, or not hopefully, but would definitely closen things up if we did see him soon.
28 seconds. Is Invisible HK a rerun? I'll leave that one to Insomnia.
I'll leave that one to Homosity.
Pass the buck, I like it. Alright, both runners beginning their fights. Visuals jumping over the Hollow Knight, as is fireb0rn getting a couple fireballs in, collecting that soul. Pretty decent patterns for both runners. Equivalent RNG. fireb0rn gets parry there on the left-hand side of your screen. Visuals in the meantime. Getting some pretty clean damage patterns here. As fireb0rn does get another parry, that's going to lose him just a little bit of time. He can't afford to lose. Visuals not really making anything in the way of significant mistakes either. Does get a parry finally.
Oh my god, how many parries has fireb0rn got? He got like, I think that was 4 or 5 just with parry, turn around. 6 in a row, yeah. Hollow Knight not getting the memo that they were meant to be for visuals.
19 parries, but on the wrong side. Sounds about right. Visuals entering the final phase, as is fireb0rn, but at this point, your Visuals is not gonna make a mistake here. 4 HP. Scream skip. Yeah, he's gonna have this one wrapped up, and he's gonna advance on to the finals, undoubtedly. And fireb0rn, despite I have to stress this, considering the significance of the mistake at Mantis Claw, for him to come back and shave off over 60 seconds of that deficit is really, really impressive. GG to both. fireb0rn not out of the tournament yet, knocked down to face either Mothity or Pest in the losers bracket. Chance to get back into the finals and get a rematch. GG.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the time, when you consider he lost about 90 seconds to Mantis' death, that would have been probably the fastest time we'd ever seen in the tournament.
Hey, what's up?
Hey. That, I gotta ask it. What happened at Mantis Claw, man?
Okay, when you mess up that setup like that, and the Mantis hits you to the left, it's really bad. And I don't know how to recover it very well. But usually I can just like lure them down and do like the super old Mantis Claw setup without too much trouble, but that time it didn't work out.
Yeah, it seemed like you were trying to like do a fireball almost for a back boost, and then it just didn't end up working, and you didn't have enough soul to heal.
Yeah.
Unfortunate sequence of events there. But that said, not only did you come back and reclaim the world record just 6 days ago, you clawed over 60 seconds back in this race when you were above 90 seconds behind as a result of that. Did you feel pretty good about your performance aside from what happened at Mantis Claw?
Yeah, like apart from a couple mistakes, I was really happy with the run. Other than that, just some small mistakes here and there, like one dunk in QGA, but the rest of the run was really good. I was happy with it.
Oh, welcome Visuals. GG.
I guess, GG.
Yeah.
GG, dude.
Dang it, Fire. I can't go one run. I would honestly rather lose than just have people be like, oh, well, all 3 of his opponents just shit the bed, and...
Yeah, I would have preferred to,
Yeah, it's understandable.
give you a better race.
I mean, it's like, I obviously you were like clawing your way back super hard. Like, there's no, there's no denying that. But like, I hope people understand that I was literally like playing as safe as possible, like taking every heal. Like, you're the one that has to play risky. I can just play super safe, and I knew I had enough of a lead.
Yeah,
That's not to say you wouldn't have made up time. Like, you definitely would have made up time. You were playing way better than I was, but
like 34-42 is not great for you, so you could definitely do better than that if you're playing riskier.
yeah, that was horrible. But yeah, no, I honestly couldn't believe it. Whenever I saw the chat blowing up with F, I was like, okay, what could have happened in the Mantis Claw split? Like, it didn't make sense to me at all. I was like, what are they effing?
Yeah, like usually nothing that catastrophic can ever happen in this split.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking maybe like I don't know. I was thinking you missed the explosion pogo and got hit and then missed it again or something. But I was like, there's no way. Like,
yeah. Did you see what happened?
I heard you missed Mantis pogo and then tried to go around and did you like misjudge a guy on the ground or something or?
Yeah, one of the grounded guys just like lunged at me. I forgot like how they work, I guess.
The only one you see, you just fireball and instantly dash and upslash.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the visuals, like you said, you've had a bit of a favorable go of it in terms of opponents making some pretty significant mistakes. That has, in a way, kind of put you where you are, but you definitely got the talent to be where you are as well. Your thoughts about a potential rematch against fireb0rn as he goes on to face either Hamathity or Pest?
Well, I mean, I'll say if like let's say this race didn't happen, but somehow me and Fire were in like a situation where he had to beat me twice and I had to win once, I would feel obviously a lot more comfortable because that's what we're gonna end up having to do if he makes it back. But like, I don't know. Like, I hope that he either gets back or Pest goes up. Like, and they give me an actual really good race because I haven't had to play well. Like, I just had to not play catastrophic essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But
fireb0rn, you reclaimed the record from Pest just 4 days after he had snagged it with a 33-20. Your thoughts on facing either Hamathity or Pestilent Box?
I'm pretty confident. I'm just focusing on my own game. Like, I don't know how in practice either of them are because Pest got Reki and he's kind of been taking a break to play Celeste, and Hamathity's always doing randomizer stuff. So I think I just need to focus on my own game and like focus on not dying in Mantis Claw, and I'm pretty confident in being able to get back to Grand Finals.
All right, you guys have any other final thoughts before we close out the broadcast?
Feels bad, man.
Feels bad. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thanks for hopping in. Thanks for the race. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, Insomnia, for co-commentating. Great having you on here.
Yeah, you too. And we don't have a time scheduled for Hamathity Pest, but stay tuned and I'm sure it'll pop up on the schedule sooner or later.
Yeah, it will be added to the SpeedGaming schedule at speedgaming.org when we do get a time schedule between Hamathity and Pest, and obviously Fire and Visuals will be waiting for the results of that before we schedule that match. So thank you very much for watching. Visuals taking it, advancing on to the finals. fireb0rn, we're going to fight back from the losers. We'll see you again next time. All Knight 80% NMG Tournament. Thanks for watching.
GG.
Thanks, guys.